It's time for the 5 count. Welcome to the O Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, CW. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to hit that bell on YouTube and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcasting app. Today, we are introducing something new to O Wrestling. For you, the fans, whoever's listening, it's called the 5 count, inspired by Big E, who was inspired by King Kong Bundy before him. The 5 count runs down the 5 biggest or best or most interesting stories from a week in professional wrestling. There's always something to talk about in pro wrestling, and we will cover the 5 things that, honestly, I thought were pretty cool. So, welcome to the 5 count. Let's jump into it in no particular order. Number 1, Edge has joined AEW. What? The 49-year-old legend has hopped ships from WWE to AEW. I am flabbergasted. That Edge showed up at Wrestle Dream. He didn't cost anyone anything. He debuted after Christian Cage retained his title, and Edge sided with Sting instead of Christian, which, it's fine. But the whole point of Edge even showing up and having his music, and he's called the Rated R Superstar Adam Copeland, and his entrance music says "You Think You Know Him," so that it doesn't get a strike against the WWE. It was insane. It was insane. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched the highlights. But crazy, man. Am I not wrong in this? This is huge news. Which is weird because if you look back on Edge's career, when he first started, you would never think he would be such a hot commodity in professional wrestling in general. He's a legend. Edge is a legend now. And he's come a long way from being part of the Brood and kind of, working his way through the tag division. Then I remember him splitting off into his singles career and thinking he's going nowhere. And completely changed the game, made, an incredible name for himself, one of the best champions, had some of the best angles with, the Rated R Superstar stuff, and I don't know. Edge is incredible. AEW is very lucky to have him, even in his advanced age, let's say, because I know I'm late 30s. That's generous. I'm late 30s, and I am in pain all the time. And this man is 49, and he's still taking bumps and spearing people and whatnot. Him and Sting are going to have a good time. Him and Samoa Joe, they're going to have a good time. Him and Claudio Castagnoli, or Castagnoli, I can never say that man's last name. Him and Cesaro, they're going to have a great time. But huge news in wrestling. Huge for WWE to bid farewell to Edge. The past 2 years, there have been a lot of just like players. I feel like they're having backroom, clandestine deals with AEW, just discussing who can go where and what's best for this company versus that. Because Cody Rhodes jumping over, huge news. Was it 2 years ago? And now Edge, and our number 2 on this list is Jade Cargill reports to WWE. This news is maybe a week and change old, so you all know this, but it works in with the Adam Copeland stuff / Edge, is that Jade Cargill jumped ship from AEW to WWE. Huge news for her. She's out here trying to make a name for herself in the women's division in WWE, but she was a staple in AEW television. It's like they made a trade. Isn't it a little bizarre that these two superstars swap places? I don't know, but it's great. It's great for the business. It gives the rosters a shakeup. You got to love it. You have to love the ability to have new blood in each promotion. It makes the fans happy. It makes professional wrestling better. It raises everyone's profile because now Edge gets to work with some young talent and put them over, and now Jade gets to come in and get new faces on her talent. and she can put over NXT people, or the higher ups in the women's division can help put her over. I mean, it's just good all around. But still, huge news on both sides. I don't know too much about Jade Cargill outside of her being, I think it was TBS champion for like a year and a half or something. But apparently she's a really great talent. And look, I'm looking forward to her clashing with everyone in NXT and Raw and SmackDown. It's going to be great. Number 3, LA Knight, is teaming up with John Cena to take on Jimmy and Solo at Fastlane as of this recording this Saturday. They are trying their best to put LA Knight in positions where he can thrive, where he can get, a rub here and there from, established people. LA Knight is organically over, right? He's just what they call the megastar, right? He got over on his own. He's cutting his promos. People are loving him. I feel like some people love him in spite of what he does. Like they just love him because everyone else loves him. I don't know. But now he's teaming with John Cena and they're trying to give him the Cena rub, which they did, at Payback when he beat The Miz. John Cena gave him the, hey, this guy's the thing. And now he's teaming up with him so they can, get that pop together, because John Cena still gets an incredible pop. So you see the machine moving to get LA Knight into a position where he's now facing the bloodline and putting what I guess is his name in the hat to wrestle Roman down the line. Should be good. Will he win? Of course not. But it'll bump him up quite a bit to main event status, which is great. Number 3. Wait, is that 3? That's 4. This is number 4. Number 4, WWE releases at least 20 folks, including Shelton Benjamin and Mustafa Ali and Dolph Ziggler. I was having a conversation with Dad's First Time, and I was going over the list of people who got released, and a lot of folks were either not being used, like Emma and Riddick Moss and Elias, and some of them were some NXT talent who weren't as high profile as they wanted them. And then there were people like Dolph and Shelton Benjamin, who were, veterans, legends, if you can call them, who just, weren't on TV. And I'm sure their contracts were large enough that the people in the back were like, well, we never used them and we're paying them, so let's kind of, give them an opportunity to go be great somewhere else. And then there's people like, or a person like Matt Riddle, who was apparently, allegedly, a problem backstage, and what, I don't know. But it's never good when people get fired. It always sucks. But the great thing about professional wrestling that Edge has illustrated is that there's always a place for you somewhere. And there's rumors that Impact Wrestling is already looking at Mustafa Ali and Dolph and Matt Riddle. So look, they'll land on their feet. We'll get to see, like I said, new combinations of wrestlers and new matches in different places. And that's the best part about professional wrestling. And number 5 in the 5 count was something I had it written down. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's not really that big of a deal. So let's call an audible and talk about, I cannot say this dude's name. I'm sorry. Dragunov from NXT winning the NXT championship from, almost called him, Cameron Hayes in WWE No Mercy in a banger of a match, crazy match, incredible match for them. Great ending, very clean ending. I watched the ending sequence. I don't know too much about Dragunov, but I've heard nothing but great things. And apparently he had one of the greatest matches with Gunther in NXT. So, I mean, now he's ruling NXT as champ. So maybe we'll see him show up on the Raw roster, touting his belt, maybe grabbing some main event matches. Let me know what you thought of the 5 count. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with another. And don't you ever forget,
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah.